Well, great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to the North London Buddhist Center, and so much gratitude to you all. We are celebrating Dr. Ambedkar Day in North London Buddhist Center, and yeah, really thank you, North London Buddhist Center and Kusala. Kusala and me are trying to get together this day going on. And I really enjoy, Kusala, your kind of passion and connection with Dr. Ambedkar and Nagpur, and your friendship with some people in India. And I loved your talk as well. You beautifully summarized Dr. Ambedkar's life in a very short period. As you said, his life is so rich, very difficult to summarize in a short period of time, but you've done so well, so moving together. And here it is now. So I'm going to talk a little more personally, personal touch, how impact Dr. Ambedkar, how on my life. So in a way, it's very good. We heard greatest story of 21st century of Dr. Ambedkar has influenced so million of people in India. And now we can a little bit think or talk about, you will have a little bit glimpses of how his life impacted someone like me coming from India and from his community. And so nice to see my dear friend Maitriji. We spent so much time in India together, and he's consistently attending these events in Sangha in UK. So thank you much for coming, Maitriji, here today. Okay, so I thought I will just show you a couple of songs actually. The Indian celebration so much about culture, song. That's a way of expressing our devotion to Dr. Ambedkar. So I thought I will show you a couple of songs. So the first song is about a woman actually. She's still alive, but it's a recent discovery actually, how she lost everything in her life. She is very poor, but there's something about still inspires her, Dr. Ambedkar and Dr. Ambedkar's vision. And she has this instrument called one tara, and it's a one-string instrument. And she just sings songs of Dr. Ambedkar and his vision and his work with people. And people give her money and so on. So it's very inspiring way I found, how Dr. Ambedkar is influencing people in India. So this is probably one example we can have a look. So I will share my screen. We can just watch this song. So her name is Kodubai. You will see some translation here.
या व्हिडिओनं पूर्ण महाराष्ट्रभर लोक परिचय आहेत आणि फक्तच पाहतात की आम्हाला कडूबाई कुठे.
बाई माझ्या धक धक करी ग, काळजात बाई माझ्या धक धक करी ग, आले नाही साहेब माझे अजून घरी ग, काळजात बाई माझ्या धक धक करी ग, आले नाही साहेब माझे अजून घरी ग. ओ कोणी म्हणी मारू त्याला करू त्यांचा अंत, साहेबाच्या मनात मी त्याला बाबासाहेबाचे गाणे म्हणायला होते, मी त्याला बाबासाहेबाचे विचार सांगते की कसे कसे होते बाबासाहेब, कसे कसे नाही, मी तेच माझ्या मुलाला सांगते. आणि हे जरशी गरिबी नाचरी ना जरशी मी मागे आले सर, मी आता कर्मच जागत राहते आणि तिला शाळा नाही, काही नाही, कोणत्या गोष्टीच्या सुविधा नाही, म्हणून सरी मी माझ्या मुलाला सांगते की तुम्ही बाबासाहेबाची गाणी म्हणा, बाबासाहेबाची विचार धरा. बाबासाहेबाचे एक जर गीत म्हणलं तर ते आपलं कामच आहे. बापानं सांगलं की कोणतेच गीत म्हणायचे नाही तर बाबासाहेबाचे. मालक बी वाढले, मग लेकर कसे सांभाळायचे, तर मी आपल्या भीमवाडीमध्ये जाऊन सरी एक गाणं म्हणलं बाबासाहेबाचं. बाबासाहेबाचं गाणं म्हणलं तर आपल्या दलित बांधवांना मला कोणी तांदूळ दे, कोणी काही ज्वारी दे, कोणी बाजरी दे, कोणी साड्या दे, कोणी पैसे दे, जे असलं ते घरातलं मला दिलं. आणि मग मला जास्त बाबासाहेब कळाले की खरोखर बाबासाहेब जिवंत आहे. वर्षणाची पाटी कपडा नल्ला तर घायाला भत्ता वजिती वती माय मोठी मया अभिमान मया अभिमान विमान माय सोन्याने भरली मोठी मया अभिमान विमान माय सोन्याने भरली मोठी मया अभिमान विमान माय सोन्याने भरली मोठी. सांगू सांगू मी केले.
Can you hear okay, yeah, the song? Yeah, that's one of a really inspiring example for me. Even there's a extreme poverty, injustice and caste, but how Dr. Ambedkar is still in central of their lives. And that's the greatest gift we can have from Dr. Ambedkar, inspiration, ideal, something that you can't easily access, can't easily get. So I love that really story so much. The next song I'm going to show you, it's my couple of friends actually. They are brothers and sisters. They are with new generation and they are singing songs for Dr. Ambedkar's celebration as well. They're more educated. So you will see also another impact on young people like them. So we'll share another screen.
Chaya. It means this song, which is called as Sanghanath Chaya, it means that the shadow, like the warmth of stars. So it is compared metaphorically with Ambedkar's work or whatever Dr. Ambedkar has done for us. So it is compared metaphorically with stars, shadow, the shadow which it gives, and even a mother's warmth, even the bird, like how the birds give its warmth to the what we can say, the chicks, you can say, the small offsprings of it. So it is compared with that, and how we were into so much of superstition before, and how we have emerged into like how we have progressed into the bright side, how we have seen the rationalism now. And even the thing is, my Marathi is not so good, but I still try to tell the bits and pieces of the poem. Actually, it is written by Vaman Dada Kardak, who is a very good poet, who is a very good Indian poet, especially from our community. And it is written that how Baba Sahib has taken us, like he has united us into, like under his wings, the wings he has spread, the wings of Dhamma, and how we all are the small chicken, like the small birdies, you can say, how we are the small birds under his wings. So without any further ado, I would like to start. My brother Asit, he's gonna play the ukulele, and we both are gonna sing this song.
चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया, चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया, माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया, माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया, चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया चोचितल चारा देत होता सारा चोचितल चारा देत होता सारा आईचा उबारा देत होता सारा आईचा उबारा देत होता सारा भीमाई परी चिल्या पिल्यावरी भीमाई परी चिल्या पिल्यावरी पंख पांघराया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया बोलतात सारे विकासाची भाषा बोलतात सारे विकासाची भाषा लोपली निराशा ता लोपली निराशा लोपली निराशा ता लोपली निराशा 7 कोटी मधी विकासाच्या आधी 7 कोटी मधी विकासाच्या आधी विकासाचा पाया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया झाले नवनेते मलाईचे धनी झाले नवनेते मलाईचे धनी वामनच्या मध्ये येते जुन्या आठवणी वामनच्या मध्ये येते जुन्या आठवणी झुंज दिली खरी रामकुंडावरी झुंज दिली खरी रामकुंडावरी दगड गोट खाया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया चांदण्याची छाया कापराची काया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया माऊलीची माया होता माझा भीमराया.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was just looking at the comments you all have.
Brilliant.
Last year, I invited both of them to sing a song for our Cambridge Buddhist Center. And I really loved it. I thought even you don't understand Marathi, you can see really joy in our face when we talk, when we think about Dr. Ambedkar, when we sing about Dr. Ambedkar. And there's millions and thousands of songs written about Dr. Ambedkar and books and so on, So the impact of Dr. Ambedkar is so deep, it goes so far, more than you can imagine. Okay, well, I'm just going to take at least just for like another 10-15 minutes to just a little bit talk about my journey. And especially today, I'd like to emphasize on my spiritual journey, like how actually impacted my Buddhist life through Dr. Ambedkar's vision and mission. So I was born in India, in a small village in the southeast of India, in Maharashtra. And when I was growing up, I grew up in a Buddhist community, we call Dr. Ambedkar's community. And yeah, I mean, I had so much struggle. My father was died when I was young. My mother was an uneducated woman. She became widow early on. Very typical life for her, very struggle life for her. She has to raise these two children, myself and my brother. And anyway, life goes on, everything happens, but spiritually speaking, my biggest influence, I mean, my mother was, although she was born in a Buddhist community, she didn't have any idea how to practice Buddhism, really. So she was more impacted through Hindu religion. She was following this particular god called goddess called Mahalakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity. And I was quite influenced by her a lot when I was a child. And as a child, I was a little bit ill as well. I had a problem with the health. So naturally, my mother took me to the temple, worshiping this particular god. So I would say I was quite deeply influenced by Hindu religion early on. And I was just like, 5-6 years old. And that same time, there was another force was happening in my village, which is Dr. Ambedkar. That's quite natural. I was in that community. I was growing up in Buddhist center, Buddhist community. But still, people are influenced by Hindu religion because the Hindu religion is the majority of influence in India. 80% of people are Hindu religion. So obviously, even Buddhist people, before it used to be Buddhism, before they became Buddhist in 1956, they have a strong influence of Hinduism. So naturally, there's a still connection for them. So that's how my mother impacted, and that's how I was impacted with Hinduism because of her. But at the same time, there's another force, another inspiration carries on in society, which is Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhism. So I had always this struggle in childhood. This is a Hindu religion. I am influenced by mother, and there is a Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhism. There's activities happening in my village. I grew up with, hearing Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhism. And anyway, it didn't take very much long for me to give up Hinduism, if you like. It just was a matter of growing up and then kind of understanding Buddhism and Dr. Ambedkar. So early on, I responded to Buddhism only because of Dr. Ambedkar, because of what he said about the religion and his contribution. And one of things when I reflect on my spiritual life, I think when I was a child, I got involved with Buddhism quite early on as well. I was like 8-9 years old actually. Come across one of Tri Ratna's activities in my village, one of Karuna's project actually, and came across for children. And that's how I got involved with Buddhism. And the one thing I was very influenced by, that Dr. Ambedkar in 1956 gave a Buddhism. And while he was converting on that day, he also gave 22 vows for a new Buddhist. And in 22 vows, he was really clear what you are renouncing and what you are moving towards to. Yeah. So when Bhante talks about meaning of conversion, he says, you need to have some kind of understanding what you are leaving behind, what you're renouncing, and what you're moving towards to. That's the meaning of conversion. And I'm sure we all have that sort of experience some point. We have this understanding, I'm leaving behind this and I'm moving towards to this, kind of things. And what Dr. Ambedkar done in these 22 vows, first vows is all about you are renouncing this. Yeah, so you're renouncing Hindu kind of religion, beliefs, idea, old identity of caste, and so on, and you're moving towards to Buddha's vision, Eightfold Path, also so on. He's doing that, and that has influenced me quite deeply. Actually, it gives me a little bit clear understanding what I'm renouncing and what I am moving towards to. I'm going to give you a few example of this 22 vows. Dr. Ambedkar was quite strong on really. It's quite strong 22 vows if you want to have a look. I won't read everything, but some of then he said, I do not and shall not believe that Lord Buddha was the incarnation of Vishnu. I believe this is to be shared madness and false propaganda. He's quite strong on. He wasn't believing that Buddha was a reincarnation of Vishnu. He said, I shall have a compassion and loving kindness for all living beings and protect them. I shall not act in manner violating the principles and teachings of the Buddha. I shall believe in equality of man. I shall ensure to establish equality. I shall follow the noble eightfold path of the Buddha. And he also said, today I believe my new birth is happening when I was taking new path in my life. And that's how millions of people feel. We feel our new birth is happened in 1956. In a way, that's a significant. So for me, when I think about Indian modern history, I think for me, in my opinion, there are two significant breakthroughs in Indian modern history. The first significant breakthrough is when Dr. Ambedkar was born in 1891, in April 1891. I think his birth has brought something significant for Indian history. In a way, I wouldn't be talking with you without his contribution. We wouldn't be probably having this conversation if Dr. Ambedkar wouldn't exist. So Dr. Ambedkar's birth is very significant, the greatest breakthrough in Indian modern history, because his example, his birth has helped so many million people to get out from caste injustice and casteism and caste identity. I like one of king, actually, near my village, called where I come from. There used to be king Dr. Ambedkar's time, called Shahu Maharaj, Shahu King, known for ethical king. And he helped Dr. Ambedkar, giving some scholarship to go to London and educate himself. And he was so fond of Dr. Ambedkar, and he invited to one of conference near my village, actually. And he was addressing his followers in that conference, and he said, which is, I really loved it. He said, "You have found your savior in Dr. Ambedkar. I'm confident that he will break your shackles. Not only that, but time will come. So whisper my consciousness that he will shine as a front-rank leader of all India fame and appeals. He will shine the front-rank leader of all India fame and appeals." That's what happened. You can see actually Dr. Ambedkar's reputation and his life. He's still going around. He's very famous in India. He's the greatest leader of India. There was a competition a while ago, who is the greatest leader of India in 21st century. And millions and thousands of people voted Dr. Ambedkar. They said Dr. Ambedkar is the modern leader. And that was incredible, actually, moment that like India has elected Dr. Ambedkar as the leader. But I can imagine mostly people from the Dalit community, Buddhist community, did opted for that national kind of election. So that's very incredible. So in a way, that's why I feel Dr. Ambedkar's birth is one of the greatest breakthrough in modern Indian history, because what he has done has never able to anyone have done. Even Dr. Ambedkar said, many Mahatma came and went. Mahatma means greatest people like Mahatma Gandhi. There is many greatest people came in Indian history, but none of them really challenged the caste system. None of them has decided to eradicate caste system. Very few of them. That's what Dr. Ambedkar said. That many Mahatma came, many Mahatma went, but nobody has done eradicating caste system. That's why he wanted to do that, Dr. Ambedkar. And that's why he deeply, deeply believed that Buddha teaches equality. He really found that Buddha believes in equality. He doesn't believe in division. He believes in equality. That's he found, and that's why he took Buddhist path in early. Well, that's why he chose Buddhism. As Kusala was telling, he he studied so many different religions. He took like 21 years, I think, to think about Buddhism. In 1935, he declared, although I was born a Hindu, that wasn't in my hand, but I'm not going to die as a Hindu. And from 1935, he took so much time, and in 1956 he converted in Buddhism. So he really thought about, why Buddhism, why Buddhism for myself and my followers in India. So in a way, that's why that's one of the things I feel like since 1956, our identity has changed as a human being. We don't feel belongs to any caste, we don't feel belongs to any identity in particular. We feel we are son of Buddha, So in a way, when I think about this woman Kadubai, in the first song, she was singing songs. Although there is our objective realities exist as a poverty, caste justice, casteism, and struggle for our life. In a way, that started to feel a bit secondary for us since 1956. Yeah, what becomes primary for us is Dr. Ambedkar and his mass conversion in Buddhism. And that's, I think, Dr. Ambedkar wanted. He wanted to move towards to spiritual vision. We know we have a struggle in India. We have a poverty, we have a casteism and so on, and that's going to carry on for many centuries. And it's not that we challenge that, we definitely challenge that one, but also there's another aspect Dr. Ambedkar brought to us is spiritual vision for our life, really. And that's how we actually feel in India. In a way, since 1956, even we don't very much associated with the word Dalit, actually. From that moment of 1956, we just really like to evoke that new birth in us, new identity as a Buddhist. And with new identity as a Buddhist, we can challenge, anything comes to our way, like a casteism or poverty, or anything can come, we will fight that, but not as a Dalit, we will fight as a Buddhist. That's how we feel since 1956. And that's one of the important, I think, benefit or impact if we can see on the Dalit community on Buddhist. In a way, we still have this problem of casteism and so on, but we will face that as a Buddhist, not as a Dalit. Yeah, that's very interesting, I think, for me. I thought I will before I finish, I will say few of Dr. Ambedkar's teachings, how he influenced me when I was growing up and for my spiritual life. And we grew up in India, seeing Dr. Ambedkar's images everywhere. You can see actually, that in first songs, even she's so poor, but you can find Buddha's and Dr. Ambedkar's image in her house. That's what we inspired by. We also, see Dr. Ambedkar's phrases and thoughts written in our Buddhist centers, in our schools, and so on. And I used to hear Dr. Ambedkar's these phrases. One used to really inspire me. His famous one is, be educate and agitate and agitate. Yeah, educate and agitate, educate and organize. That's really deeply influenced me. And you can see so many people really kind of devote to educate themselves. And Dr. Ambedkar is one of great example for us to educate ourselves. People really took that seriously, education. So that's one of I found very fascinating in India. I have a very little opportunity to educate myself with poverty. I have really little opportunity. There's something about for Buddhist people, they always will find ways to educate themselves. I got my graduation now. I'm graduating in history. I have no idea how I got graduation, with little opportunities, with little money, and struggle with my mother and so on. But her vision, she always wanted to educate her children. So there is something about education. People will always find ways to educate themselves, and so on. There's another quote I really liked about this. Dr. Ambedkar wanted to create new society based on equality, liberty, and fraternity, which is always inspired me. Vision of new society based on this. And Dr. Ambedkar's idea is to, he took this principle from Buddha's teachings. Yeah, maybe last quote, I will say one more quote and I will finish here. So one, I will always hear about this one. Dr. Ambedkar said, what is Dhamma? One thing he said, Dhamma is morality and morality is Dhamma. Yeah, they're not two different things. So it's quite interesting, really. And he said, in Hinduism, God has a place, but in Buddhism, the morality has place. Although we don't believe in God, Dr. Ambedkar said morality has space in Buddhism. And the heart of morality is Maitri, is kindness and compassion, imagination. So really, Dr. Ambedkar brought this very practical insight about Dhamma is morality, is Dhamma, and Dhamma is morality, which is, I really loved it. Another insight of Dr. Ambedkar, I love it, is he said, in Marathi, he said, Man saman samatil uchit व्यवहार म्हणजे Dhamma. He said, between two people, the best possible behavior is the Dhamma. Yeah. So the best possible behavior between two people is the Dhamma. So in a way, I thought very practical insight about Dhamma. So it means it doesn't really matter which color you come from, which color you are, which country you come from, which caste you come from. As long as you can work it out between two people, what's the best behavior in this moment, what can best behavior we can do, that's been Dhamma. And for me, and for Dr. Ambedkar, I can imagine the best behavior always will inspire through kindness, based on compassion, based on wisdom. Yeah, that's the highest behavior we can aim for. That's where we are moving towards to as a Buddhist vision. And for Dr. Ambedkar, that's the inspiration. Like between two people, the best possible behavior means Dhamma. So it's quite practical insight, actually, we brought into life. So in a way, I think maybe that's where I can finish my little talk today. And in a way, Dr. Ambedkar's impact is so incredible, actually. I like to call sometimes Dr. Ambedkar's unstoppable force of inspiration. You can't stop it. He will just carry on through millions of people. Also, I'd like to call sometimes Dr. Ambedkar is little gold in our heart. As long as that gold exists in our heart, we will be all right. There's nothing can stop us. So Dr. Ambedkar is little gold in our heart. So I will stop here. I love doing this really very much. So thank you very much.